Greetings, Esoteric Nation. I am very excited to present this new series of videos that will be focusing on the ideas of 20th century's greatest authors, if you ask me, and that is of John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, the author of The Lord of the Rings. We're going to be looking at some of his ideas that he presented and some of his terms that he proposed in order to understand his stories. So I am currently working on a chapter for a book that is aimed towards American evangelicals. As a student of, as an independent student of philosophy, psychology, and theology, I like to look at various different traditions. And the latest stream that I am interested in at the moment is that of the American evangelical community that was inspired by one of 20th century's greatest evangelists, Billy Graham. One of the things that we do as scholars is, and artists, is like, well, how can we merge different ideas, right? Musicians know what I'm talking about, where you may be thinking about producing a new song or album, combining different genres or elements of different genres that haven't been done yet. So in literature, we try to do the same thing, where it's like, how can we merge different genres that haven't sort of been blended yet? And, you know, the American evangelical tradition, what can I present to that field as someone who is relatively new to that field? And what I have come up with is, let me see if I can bring up some of Tolkien's ideas into that community. So we're going to look at Tolkien's definition of fantasy. So there is a proper use of fantasy and improper use of fantasy. And this is something that Tolkien is very critical about in one of his essays called On Fairy Stories. So fantasy is a good example to understand the functions of fantasy and the different uses and misuses of fantasy. We can go back to early childhood. We've all been to a McDonald's as children, right? And when you first, walk into a McDonald's, it's a very fantastical place. And they have characters, fictional characters, like Ronald McDonald and his entourage, right? Now, these are fantasy characters. This is what Tolkien will consider an improper or misuse of fantasy. Because these characters really don't provide any value to, let's say, the children that walk into that space other than mere entertainment. They don't offer life lessons. They don't offer skills. The Hamburglar, I mean, what lesson is he, trying to teach the kids, right? Grimace, right? The purple character. What can the kids learn from, him? Ronald McDonald, right? So it is clear to see, now that we are older, more mature human beings, is that those kind of fictional characters that are within the realm of fantasy are entertaining, but they don't really provide much value to society, right? Now, a proper use of fantasy is creating characters that do offer life lessons and open up new worlds. So, for example, Harry Potter, right? J.K. Rowling, who is the author of Harry Potter, created this whole new world based on the story and journey of Harry Potter. So that is an example of a proper use of fantasy. Harry Potter does offer lessons, right? that there is magic within each and every child and adult, right? Taking your kids to McDonald's, right, and to go see Ronald McDonald is really a waste of the imagination, right? But taking them to, let's say, the Harry Potter store in New York City, that is a better use of fantasy, because it opens up their minds that they too can be wizards. There is a proper use of fantasy and a misuse in fantasy. And this is something that Tolkien very critically takes apart in his essay on fairy stories. So now that we've understood the basics, the essence of proper and improper use of fantasy, we're going to look at the next level of ideas that Tolkien proposes, and that is of fairy tale, right? Fantasy and fairy tale are not the same. So if we take fantasy beyond, right, beyond just learning a moral story, right, and we pursue, the mysteries of our imagination even deeper, that is where we arrive to the realm of fairyland, right, what he called fairy or Middle Earth, right? So these are fairy tale territory, fairyland territory. Now the difference between fantasy and fairy tale is that fairy tales are true, right? Fantasies are make-believe. We invent a fictional character like Harry Potter in order to present an idea or a lesson. But in fairy tale world, in fairy tale land, the characters are real, right? The energy, they don't just provide a moral lesson. There is an energy behind them. There is an energy behind Bilbo, behind Gandalf, behind Aragorn, and all the characters of The Lord of the Rings, right? These characters and their stories and their narrative, paint a very general picture at the surface level. But beyond that, beyond those stories, beyond those characters, there's a real energy behind them, right? And that is what Tolkien refers to as fairy tales being true. So in this video, very brief video, my aim was to introduce Tolkien and also his ideas of the differences between fantasy and fairy tale and the misuses of fantasies and proper uses of fantasy, and also to at least present this idea, this notion that fairy tales are true. Now, it's going to take some time to really understand these concepts, which is why it's so important to stay with these ideas, and study them like we would, a university course. And what I hope to provide in my platforms is my presentation on these ideas, and to be able to present them and incorporate them into our everyday cultures.